The trajectory of the Nigerian history since pre-colonial days till date has been a mixed bag. While there is so much to celebrate about Nigeria in terms of her cultural heritage, economic might, and human and natural resources, the crisis that has continued to confront the Nigerian state begs the question of why factors that should unite Nigeria are causing division amongst Nigerians. The issue of politics is a critical factor that has seen Nigerians go in different directions. Emphasis on ethnicity and indigenization has not helped matters either. With politics up in the air and the infightings and violence that has been left in its trail, one can't help but wonder if perpetrators of these acts ever put national interests above personal interests. Are Nigerians their own adversary? How can Nigeria realistically overcome these challenges? What should Nigerians do differently to ensure that the country remains united and indivisible? We shall attempt to answer these questions and more on this program. Of course, I'm not alone. My guests will be revealed in just a moment. This is Nigeria Today, and my name is Dennis Adinglue. Thanks for joining us. With me in the studio to discuss unity in spite of diversity is Chris Agiri, who is the Director General of the Flag Foundation of Nigeria. You're welcome to Nigeria Today, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you. And also with us is Bola Bakare, the President, Truth Be Told Network. Thank you, sir, for also being with us again on Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
Truth be told.
All right. Let's start the program by reviewing the ties that bind Nigerians as a people. Let me come to you first, Bola. Ties that bind Nigerians, what are they and how can they be strengthened?
Thank you once again, my brother.
Yeah.
From a truthful angle, which we always stand for, we need to look at ourselves holistically. And in doing that, we need to put in the human factor, which is the basis of our existence, the basis of what makes us Nigerians. For which I would like to let us come together and go to the root of it. The root of it is the family. You as a person out there looking at me, you belong to a family. Your family makes your mainstay in life. And whatever you do, unfortunately in some cases, we do not put the family factor into perspective before we do what we do. But what we are saying here is we are looking for solutions. So I am saying the family should be put into the factor, which brings about the case of people like me. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I got nephews, nieces, and the rest of them out there. And the other party is you, the voter, that is probably younger than I do. What we should do as elders and parents counts a lot for what the kids listen to and what makes them act the way they are. This brings me to the fore of one factor I've been thinking about for a long while. I've been asking friends, parents, and grandparents, what kind of legacy are we leaving for our kids? You might think a one-year-old boy, a one-year-old kid is too young, but for God's sake, you are the only tutor he or she has on earth. And their brains are like sponges. They absorb everything you do. It is the way you bring up these kids that affect Nigeria as a whole. I was at a forum some time ago and I was telling some of my mates, my age mates and my friends, let's ask ourselves the legacy we're leaving for these kids. I ran an inference. As I look at Lewis Hamilton, his father taught him how to do Formula One by taking him as a kid to a go-kart rink. The Williams sisters, their father taught them how to play tennis before they became the biggest thing in tennis world today. Tiger Woods' dad is an ex-military man. He taught him how to play golf at age 2. What do we teach our children these days?
All right, let me bring in Chris. I agree. Bola has made some critical points with regards to the family, how crucial that is in terms of raising, moral uprightness among our young people. What is your take? Would you say Nigeria is more united now than ever, or divided?
Yeah, thank you very much. And for me, my main concern is not to begin to ascertain how divided and how united we are. The point is that we must recognize and become more conscious of the fact that we are a people, one sovereignty, one nation. At least for now. There's no other country that stands as a member of the United Nations for which you and I, claim citizenship other than the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so whatever is the situation, we must consciously make conscious effort to preserve the nation. The Republic must be preserved. And the preservation of the Republic, for which God has planted each and every one of us. The Republic for where we will explore our God-given potentials and realize our dreams as a people, as an individual, as a family, in whichever form. Look at what is going on in the world today. There is a resurgence of nationalism. People are becoming more proud of who they are because of, in some cases, what they have achieved, the height they have attained. The Chinese, for instance, the Indians. We're talking about unity in diversity, Nigeria first, love for the country. It is not a theoretical thing, it's a practical thing. It also borders down to the family unit that we're talking about. If you look at the streets, for us who are on the streets, the realities on ground does not conjure hope to mostly the young people. And to the glory of God, I have been an active person, an active citizen. I have seen it all from the Civil War. I was a little boy during the Civil War. I saw part of the Civil War. And that is why sometimes we look at the kind of politics we play now. And our brothers and sisters in the Northwest who are in the refugee camps. Unfortunately, or very unfortunately, majority of Nigerians have not experienced what it means to be a refugee. To be dislocated from where God had planted you. You become homeless, more or less. I mean, that is the worst dislocation. If life has emanated from family, from somewhere to acculturation, cultures, interactions, and all the rest of them. But who are responsible for these glaring failings? Ourselves, mostly the political elites.
What would you say are the root causes for this divisive tendencies that we are witnessing in
because the root causes are fundamental. Nigeria, using myself as an experience, as a little boy, as a case study, there is problems of identity, crisis of identity, crisis of self-identity, crisis of, well, our national identity is not in doubt, but it shouldn't just be for mere talking. I'm yet to see the strings, the strongholds, the superstructures that holds us. Yes, individually we interact. Yeah. Even the institutions that are designed to strengthen our unity in diversity. The railway line. As a little boy, I jumped out from the boarding house and joined the railway line and found myself in Zaria. And from there to, as you journey along the railway lines, the friendships, the integration, the understanding, the interactions, those are the things that strengthen national unity. It lessens the cases of mutual suspicion. And that is why I give credence to the composer of the first Nigerian national anthem. Yes, Nigeria is we talk about unity in diversity. Our diversity is not in doubt. It's not in question. It is as God, had designed it to be. Our cultures, our traditions, our languages, our ethnicities. But those unity in diversity, these things are supposed to unite us. The diversity, the strength in diversity is absorbing, collecting and collating these views, these standpoints, these people, which is what it was. It's not Ellen. What is happening in Nigeria today? Is it because of the election? There's always been an election. 1999 there was election. Up to now. Even the 2015 election. I mean, and so to some extent it was always like this. But this period appeared to be getting some kind of momentum that me as a Nigerian, as a conscious citizen, as a concerned citizen, as a philosopher, I begin to get worried. And that is why the Nigerian political elite should understand one thing. There is one position that's permanent. If you are contesting to be the president, to be the governor, to be the senator or a rep, to be whatever position, that's, yes, win the election, it is temporary.
Yeah.
For 4 years, or for 8 years, or 15 years. The only position that is permanent is citizenship. If you should destroy citizenship because you want to attempt a certain position, you will live there. God helping you, you don't die there. God helping you, you live there to return back to citizenship. That is why you see a lot of people who have been in power. Once they leave power, they live in regret. Some actions and inactions. And that is where, whatever be our interest, as elections is coming, whatever be whatever you think that will give birth to crisis, no. That we are saying no.
All right.
And because I always communicate with the national flag. If you look at this flag, it reminds you that you are first and foremost a Nigerian.
Nigerian before
when you see the flag, you will not see yourself as a Yoruba man or as a Igbo man, as an APC or PDP man. You will not see yourself as a civilian or a military man. It reminds you, whether you're educated or uneducated, that you are first and foremost a Nigerian.
All right.
So we must preserve the republic.
All right, Bola, we've seen diversity in other countries. Yes. It is not something that is necessarily peculiar only to Nigeria or the African continent. What, in your view, are these divisive factors that are rearing their ugly heads time and time again?
Thank you once again. Like our name goes, we do not shy away from the truth. And the truth is a case of motive. For every deed, there is a motive. If we have a bad situation of disunity, there is a motive, an underlying motive. And we're not shy of saying this. Politics is a very, very, very strong factor in creating more of disunity than unity.
That's the truth. Yes.
All for one good reason. When it comes to the kind of politics we play, it's a politics of do or die, to use the street parlance. And that is the factor we have to look at. I am sure,
but it's a fact of life. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sure the station picked on it because we're close to elections, and then we need a situation where things are a little bit better, and then there's more of unity. But I would like to chip in this. The closest power in human nature is the teeth and the tongue. They live in the same apartment. At times they have their own differences, but they still live in that same apartment. The teeth does not work out for the tongue, neither does the tongue work out for the teeth. They live there till death. Even death doesn't do them part. Yeah. We are here in Nigeria as one. Our greatness stems from 180 million Nigerians being the giant of Africa, not 10 people being the giant of Africa. So if we are talking about issues of unity, we talk in terms of politics, because politics and governance run pari passu. The governance, the politics translates to the government, which is the governance. If there is a disparity in the politicking, it affects the governance, and as such affects the people. Now politicians now come to the fore and saying, how do I win these people over? One of the basic ways of doing that is to create, I rather say, chaos rather than disunity.
All right.
Because in terms of chaos, people tend to look for who is going to save me. The man who created the chaos is ready to pull you to his side because that was his motive ab initio.
Yeah. It takes control of you.
All right. Well, we'll continue the discussion very shortly, but let's now listen to a cross-section of Nigerians on their thoughts on unity in spite of diversity in the country.
For us to remain united as Nigerians, very simple. Sincerity. Let's be sincere with one another. In as much as we look at the gray areas where we have to bring everybody together, we should look more towards competence. The person that's qualified for the job should be given the opportunity to do the job. Things should not be based on tribe, should not be based on religion or region.
He said that we are fighting about political gains, about religious gain. We are divided by culture, we are divided by religion, we are divided by ideas. So I think we can actually move forward if we can leave all those differences between us.
Divert religious out of the matter whenever we meet ourselves outside. And I think we should work together.
Nigeria has become an indivisible country for a long time. Now, Nigeria will need restructuring. The country should be restructured according to the geopolitical zone so that Nigeria can live in harmony and in a peaceful manner.
This is Nigeria Today, and we are back in the studio. Still with me is Chris Agiri and Bola Bakare. We're discussing Nigeria's unity in spite of diversity. Mr. Chris, we just heard some of the comments from some members of the public. They've echoed a lot of the things that you've both raised in the discussion so far. One key word that came out to me was sincerity of purpose and intent. Just give us your take on what you heard from the public.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's the strongest part of the interview. The ordinary man on the street, what he feels without consulting anybody. Yes, that's how they feel. And then that gives us a direction. That if you have a political class, a political elite that is conscious of the mood of the society, of the feelings of the society, if political office is to serve, you are expected to serve in accordance with the will of these people that mandated you in the first instance. And you see, one American president said that America is not won by soil or by blood, or by ideas, by values, by standards. Sincerity of purpose. If somebody who's asking that is not asking much, that's the natural thing. That's the natural law. The order of give and take. The order of do unto me as you want me to do unto thee. The order that those feelings you have as a human being, I also have such feelings. That what is due for A is also good for B. These are the issues. And it's the basis for which we coexist. Because there's no particular region of the country that is not interwoven. People talk about self-sufficiency. We can stay on our own. We can do this. Oh, well, I'm fine. We can stay on our own. But from here, we go to China to buy things, services. We go to other neighboring countries in as well, and they also come here. So the issue is this: we should come up. The country, the nation's leadership, present and future, is expected to come up with practical policies, people-oriented policies, programs articulated towards altering the mindset of the people. This leadership must be able to come with things, with policies that will inspire hope, that will strengthen a sense of we. That will, national cohesion. We need to cohere. We cohere, naturally cohere, but then we must be conscious of those things that bind us together. And now look, the issue of going apart. You have not been apart before. You don't even know what it takes. So that is why let the politicians be sincere. The ordinary Nigerian have little problem. The leadership, once the leadership shows the signpost, Nigerians will behave like Mumu, then go follow you. Once that right path comes, we are still praying and expecting and hoping for the Messiah. That's not to say that people who have been there and people who are here currently are not doing their best. That's just the truth. Every human being, we have our limitations. Yeah. Oftentimes you are doing your best, your boss may not even appreciate what you're doing. And then another important thing is that these people on the streets you are talking about, these Nigerians that their leaders ought to be serving, don't even know what is going on with our leaders. They're on their own. The leadership is on their own. There's nothing. There's no signpost. There's nothing that our Nigerians, the Nigerian youth across the world, will hold on to. That is why, look, when you see me carrying the national flag, the Flag Foundation of Nigeria, on which platform that I came here, I was invited here. Yeah. We will talk about the national flag. There we saw it as, and all over the world, historically, is the strongest civic emblem, object you can touch and feel that you can use to galvanize and mobilize a people for one cause. In this regard, it is Nigeria. Yep. Our leaders are not even cashing in. Do you understand? You know, in strengthening our Nigerianness, they may have done their best. The issue is this: it's no longer the time of who is right and who was wrong. We have to consciously save ourselves from self-destruction, save, you know, the Nigeria, the pride of the black man, the Nigerian nation, and the friends of Nigeria who expect so much from us. That is why it's in every field of human endeavor. You see Nigerians doing well, first class. Then how come that we can no longer? Man is the measure of all things that exist because man says it exists. The society we are living in today is the product of man. It's man that life from the state of nature. It's man that begin to think and begin to organize society. As we said, these studios. Why don't we consciously begin to set the Nigeria of our dream? Yeah. Irrespective of our diversities, because this is where God has planted us.
Right, okay. Bola, going on from that, what cue can we take from other countries who have been in similar situations as Nigeria, where there's a lot of diversity, but they've managed to overcome these challenges and become, you know, united and, you know, progressive nations? Thank you.
Look at my country, Nigeria, as a special case, because we are a peculiar people. We are? Very, very peculiar people. There is a notion going around in the world that Nigerians have the best shock absorbers on earth.
We do. We do.
Things come, things go. But like the trend of our discourse this evening, there's been from source to motive to perpetrators. Let's talk about the perpetrators. I will tell you this. Politics has a lot to do with our unity and disunity. Let us approach the perpetrators as is. The politicians that metamorphose into governance. At the end of the day, promises are made pre-elections. Once they get into power, it becomes something else. It is based on that premise that the average Nigerian would now say, this is happening to my person because the man at the helm of affairs is not from my own end of Nigeria. There are some instances where this is true. There are some instances where they're not true. But it's the instances of the truth factor, which we stand for, that brings about malcontents and discontent within the polity. And I'll tell you one thing. And I want to tell Nigerians one thing. Hold your peace as is. Because truth be told will always be here to tell you what to do, how to think, advise you, not really tell you, advise you on a truthful basis. Because we need to talk to ourselves on a truthful basis. There is no human being, however wicked you are, there is that element of conscience. Be it 1%, be it 10%.
That's the truth.
If the devil owns 90, at least that conscience that belongs to God is still there. Still there. I can make a promise that truth be told will always appeal to that little conscience in you that let us face it as is. All right. It's that time we cut down on listening too much. Okay. Let us form a kind of attitude that is pro-unity. All right. Good conscience. Always there.
Good conscience and sincerity clearly are the watchwords. That's right. With regards to promoting and galvanizing unity and peace in Nigeria. Right. Well, that's it on Nigeria Today. We've been talking with Chris Agiri, the DG Flag Foundation of Nigeria, and Bola Bakare, the President, Truth Be Told Network. Thank you both for your insights and contributions on this topic. And to you, our viewer, thanks for always for your time. And remember, you can watch this edition or any other online at www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, I am Dennis Adignlui.